strong.
The Philippine Army to take part of Japanese decommissioned AH-1S Cobra helicopters. From the first few weeks of 2023, the Philippine Army and its growing interest in acquiring AH-1S Cobra helicopters, combat utility helicopters from the Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces or JGSDF, provided a significant impetus intended for the Army Aviation Regiment Pariah to have a logistical platform that fit for use by their own troops. Coupled with the Philippine Air Force combat utility helicopters, the Japanese Ministry of Defense annually updates its policy documents as they continually assess the capabilities of their self-defense forces to deal with modern threats, especially now that they view the rise of the Chinese Communist Party as a threat with their continued aggression in the West. The Philippine Sea, South China Sea, poses a threat to sea trade and communication routes that this country relies heavily on for basic needs and information. Now, in a recent iteration of their policy paper, the Japanese Ministry of Defense is now seeing that the AH-1S Cobra helicopters currently operated by the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force JGSDF is now obsolete and needs to be replaced with an unmanned aerial system or drones. Although the recent trend is related to increasing their overall defense budget as the attack helicopters near their retirement base, this means that the decommissioned AH-1S Cobra helicopters is now up for grabs for countries that see an opportunity to secure this platform for use by their respective armed forces, with the Philippines actually being one of them. They based on recent actions that occurred recently, primarily in their interest to secure AH-1S Cobra helicopters for use by the Philippine Army. The Philippines getting these helicopters, especially the AH-1S Cobra helicopters, is logical from an operational experience point of view because the Philippine Air Force actually uses their donated AH-1S Cobra helicopters from Jordan, and this helicopter from the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force is considered a good production model younger than what the Philippine Air Force currently has. The AH-1S Cobra helicopters of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force shares many of the attributes with the AH-1S Cobra helicopters that we discussed earlier on this blog website, which includes the designs the two helicopters use with each other as described in the article, this time about the donation of AH-1S Cobra helicopters from Jordan to the Philippine Air Force. There have been reports coming from fellow Philippines defense watchers on Twitter, coming from legitimate sources, saying that the Philippine Army may get at least one squadron or at least 12 Cobra attack helicopters, though perhaps not surprising if the Japanese government or the Philippine military at their respective discretion add more units of such attack helicopters. While the Philippine Army announced plans to acquire Fuji Bell A1J Huey helicopters from Japan, it also showed interest to get at least one squadron of Fuji Bell AH-1S Cobra attack helicopters, which are scheduled for retirement from the Japan. Sources confirmed that the Philippine Army team that inspected the A1Js also inspected the AH-1S Cobras and were interested in them should they be offered as a grant by Japan, Max Montero report. While old, these were made in the mid-1980s to 2000, with the remaining units among those made in the 1990s. Technically, these AH-1S are younger than the Air Force's MD-520MG Defender fleet. Also, these Japanese AH-1S also received Step 3 upgrades, which actually make them AH-1F standard. A squadron of these would provide the Army the ability to conduct air support to its troops without relying on the Air Force. Max Montero assumes that the Philippines will get 6 to 11 AH-1S Cobras and 13 to 26 A1J Hueys. Japan manufactured 89 AH-1S Cobras under license by Fuji Heavy Industries from 1984 to 2000. The type is used by the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force and are Step 3 models, which are roughly the equivalent to the U.S. Army's A1Fs. The engine is the T53K703 turboshaft, which Kawasaki Heavy Industries produced under license. During the 2010s, Japan was examining options for procuring a fleet of new rotorcraft to replace its aging Cobras. In December 2022, the Japanese government decided to replace 47 AH-1S, 12 AH-64D, 3301, and 26 U-125A with unmanned aerial vehicles.